Hi everyone, I'm back with another video in which I will be exploring use action state, okay, and use optimistic hook using the form handling, okay. So use optimistic hook. In previous video, we explore about use optimistic hook using a non-form component. I can show you the example, which is your like button, where we click on the like button and the state get updated immediately, and then the your fetch call, your API call executed with the same result. So it is used. The use optimistic is used uh, to improve or enhance the user interaction. Okay, so in this video we are going to explore one another example of form handling to explore use optimistic hook more. Okay, so let's start with this a simple explanation of a new form component where we are going to integrate the input elements, and this input element is going to take on the favorite movies or series list. Okay, and I'm going to display this list inside a particular list where the input element, whatever we type on that input element, it is going to render on that after a particular interval of time. So let's start with this implementation. So first of all, I have to implement a form here. So yeah, so with this form, uh, we will be taking on the another div which will have the input tag um, with the type attribute, and this type attribute is of uh, text. Okay, and input type text box, and with this input type text box we are going to define name attribute as well, like your input. And in this div, we are going to integrate a button here which will have a label of add. Okay, and here I build a simple form which has an input element and a add button, and on click of that add button we are going to display whatever the text that I've included in my input box in the list. Okay, so for that I'm going to maintain a list. So yeah, start with the list. I'm going to take a favorite movie list. Okay, and I'm going to say a set favorite movie list. Okay, and okay, I'm going to some use action state. Okay, in this use action state I'm going to define a handle form, and in this handle form we have uh, a list, and this list is we have the error state as well, along with a text. Okay, so now what we have to do is to import this use action state here. Okay, I've already did that, so I'm going to do the next step, which is your handle form implementation. So what does handle form implementation does is this handle form will be taking our new state or updated state, you can say previous state here, and the form data that we will be receiving in this function, and through that form data we are going to take on the text. Okay, so for that we need input text here, and this input text will have something called form data dot get, and whatever the name that I have specified here, I'm going to copy and paste it here as well. And this input text will be our, whatever the user type in this input box, it is going to be captured inside this input text. Okay, then I'm going for a new entry, and this new entry will be the ID, and this ID will be the date or now. Okay, and also the um, label will be this input text. Okay, so this is what I've created, an object which has ID and label, right? And this new entry is going to be updated on this state, okay, by using what, set favorite movie list. This set favorite movie list will be updated on action attribute. So I'm going to take it, and this set movie favorite list will be included in this action attribute. Okay, now I have created a new entry here, so I'll be calling a try catch block. In this, inside the try catch block, I'm going to update this. And how I'm going to update this, just going to return the value of it, and return the object with the list property. And this list property is going to take on not an yes, empty string, but a empty array list. So this empty array list will be receiving the previous state, whatever that previous state is. Okay, dot list, right? And an object which will be your new entry. Okay, and this new entry will be like this. I'm going to define this here, and this written object will also hold two properties as well, which is error and text. So this error will be none, because I'm executing a try block, and the text will be input text. Okay, so this is so far that I have built, and if this goes anything south, then I'm going to catch it inside our catch block, and this list will be an empty array, and this error will be error dot message, and this text input text will be input text. Okay, right? So this is how I have built a handle form here. Okay, and to render it, we are going to use the favorite movie list, and this favorite movie list will be rendered inside this JSX part. Okay, so favorite movie list dot map, and this map will going to be destructure these two properties of ID and label, and this is what I have done. And I'm going to wrap it inside a callback function, and this callback function is going to trigger a div or return a div with the property of label. Okay, and I'm going to pass on the key as well, which is ID. Okay, now this is saying that favorite movie list is not a um, function. So why is that? Because favorite movie list contains an initial state of array. We are going to render or make the map function called inside this list, so I have to make this changes dot list. So I've made these changes, and nothing, no error is showing in my preview panel. And if I try to type something called stranger things here, and after that, if I click on this add button, um, this is going to re-render something like this, but it is not showing inside my um, rendered list. And why is that? Let me check. Because I have misspelled the label spelling, that's why it is the issue. So right now I fix this, and again, if we try to type in my input box string which is Stranger Things again, and click on this add button. Still not showing. Why is that? We have to figure it out. So let's go step by step. We have a form, and form has an action attribute, in which action attribute is a set favorite movie list. And inside that use action state, we have a handle form and a list. Okay, and this error and this text. Okay. Okay, so uh, and this handle form will be taking the previous state. This previous state will be your okay. I have new entry ID error, and the text will be input text. So where I have done something wrong, I couldn't figure it out. Let's type it once again. Drishyam add. So it's still not visible. There is none error that we have seen here. So where am I going wrong? List.map, ID and label, date.now. We are returning use state, use action state here. Okay, previous state, pre-state, sorry. So that's the thing. I have misspelled this pre-state with the pre-state. Okay, so this is what I've done. Let me refresh this preview panel and again type an input of Drishyam. Okay, and if I click on add button, now it's visible. The Drishyam is visible on our list. So it is happening very quickly. So let's suppose we have an API call after doing an add button click. Okay, so for API call, I'm going to include this delay of this action form component delay. So I'm going to recall this wait function and transfer into the new form here, and I'm going to invoke this wait function after clicking on handle form add button. So I'm going to call this wait, and I'm going to wait for 2000 milliseconds after awaiting it and making this handle form a asynchronous function. Okay, and yeah, so far so good. Now if I type like raise 3 and click on this add button, after 2 seconds this will be included in our list. Okay, so this wait time is implemented perfectly. So now let's suppose a scenario that after clicking on add button, we have to wait for the API calls to get successfully rendered and return with the desired output. But instead of waiting for that 2 second long, we are going to show the immediate effect using the use optimistic hook. And how are we going to implement it? We are going to see in this example only. So what I'm gonna do is initialize use optimistic hook here. So I'm going to call use optimistic, and this use optimistic, we have already seen that it is going to take this favorite movie list state as a first argument, and in second it is going to take a callback function. This callback function will be triggering and returning the actual state, like your um it is going to take on the previous state and the new entry which we are going to include. So the initial state would be an object, so that's why I'm including an object here, and destructuring or spreading out this previous state, okay, with the new entry. Okay, so now this new entry will be inside this list. Okay, we are not going to touch this error and text state, that's why we are spreading the previous state, and our list is going to include previous state dot list comma new entry. Okay, so this is how our callback function is going to trigger, and this use optimistic hook accept the same argument as the use state hook. So this use state hooks take on the optimistic list. So I'm going to type the optimistic list and this set optimistic list. Okay. Now we are going to use this set optimistic list inside our handle form function. Okay. I'm going to take a set optimistic list and with the new entry. Okay, and this new entry is going to be passed on to this callback function and going to include this before making an API call. Okay, now so far so good. What I have to do the next thing is optimistic list is going to get the updated value. So I'm going to take this favorite movie list and replace it with optimistic list. Okay, and now the functionality part is done. Now I have to check that this output is giving me the exact result or not. Now I'm going to type this gel here and I'm going to add this. Okay, if I type on the add button, then this will give me an immediate result of gel, and then after 2 seconds of delay it is going to give me the same result after replacing the same value, right? So our use optimistic hook is perfectly working fine. So if I am going to add a new movie which is your Stranger Things, and if I click on this add button, it is going to immediately rendered in my list of optimistic list, and then after 2 seconds it is going to call an API. In this we are just doing the alternative things for an API call here, just to wait for 2 seconds and then return the state. So this is what we are doing instead of calling an API. So if I click on this add button, see the Stranger Things appear first, and then our state got cleared. Okay. So that's what we have to achieve in order to handle the use action state and use optimistic hook. So इस वीडियो में हमने so far यूज़ ऑप्टिमिस्टिक और यूज़ एक्शन स्टेट ये दोनों चीज़ों को अच्छे से हैंडल करना सीख लिया है। हमने ये देख लिया कि अगर यूज़र इंटरैक्टिविटी हमें बढ़ानी हो, जैसे व्हाट्सएप पे हम जब भी मैसेज करते हैं तो वो एपीआई कॉल यानी कि बैकग्राउंड में जो कॉल होती है उसको बाद में एग्जीक्यूट करता है, पहले ही यूज़र इंटरैक्टिविटी बढ़ाने के लिए वो मैसेज को शो कर देता है। ठीक है, और अगर समहाउ एपीआई कॉल नहीं हो पाए, यानी कि अगर मैं जो एपीआई एग्जीक्यूट कर रहा हूँ वो एग्जीक्यूट प्रॉपरली नहीं हो पाई, तो हम एक स्मॉल मैसेज शो कर सकते हैं, फेल टू सेंड, जस्ट लाइक वी सॉ इन व्हाट्सएप। ठीक है, व्हाट्सएप में हमने ये फीचर देखा है, हमने ये इंस्टाग्राम में फीचर देखा है कि हम इमीडिएट इफेक्ट तो दिखा सकते हैं, लेकिन उसके बाद अगर मान लो एपीआई ब्रेक हो जाती है तो उसका मैसेज भी हम शो कर सकते हैं आफ्टर अ सर्टेन इंटरवल ऑफ टाइम, जितने टाइम में हमारी एपीआई हमारे डेटा को लेकर आती है। ठीक है, तो बढ़िया, हमने ये चीज़ देख ली। और इस वीडियो में मैंने कम्युनिकेशन को की लैंग्वेज को इंग्लिश में भी रखा है। सो स्टे ट्यून फॉर द नेक्स्ट कंटेंट। अगली वीडियो से हम यूज़ हुक के बारे में पढ़ेंगे, जो कि वन ऑफ द एडवांस फीचर है, जो कि बॉयलर प्लेट को बहुत ही ज़्यादा लेस कर देता है इन हैंडलिंग द स्टेट। ओके, सो वो हम देखेंगे नेक्स्ट वीडियो में। स्टे ट्यून फॉर द कंटेंट।